pardon me, but can I have a moment of your time? That's a question that for some of us, when we hear it, it can kind of give us a moment of fear because we're not sure how much time somebody's going to take from us. We're not sure what they mean when they say, can I have a moment of your time? But do you realize the importance of giving your time, how much that can mean to the person that's asking for it? When we give of our time, we give us something that is not replaceable. Time is a commodity that we cannot make more of. You see, when we give our time, we're truly giving of ourselves. Now, you may have heard this before, the statement that people may not remember what you do for them, but they will always remember the way that you made them feel. Now, when we give our time, we tell people they have value. Because again, we're giving something that we can't make more of. We cannot go back and say, okay, I'm going to make up this time. Time cannot be made up. Time is something that once it's spent, it's gone, and it's gone forever. So we have to make very wise choices on how we're going to spend our time, and how we're going to actually invest it in our lives and in the lives of others. Now, we may never realize the unintentional consequences of the busyness of our lives. Has anyone ever had somebody come up to them and say, hey, do you have a minute? And you have 15 different excuses as to why you cannot give them the time. As a parent, maybe you've been sitting there doing something that you thought was important, and your child comes up and says, Mommy or Daddy, Mommy or Daddy, and you say, hold on just a second. Hold on just a second. You put them off. And if you stopped and looked for a moment, you would see the look on that child's face as to how it affected them, that you wouldn't immediately give them that moment of your time. Now, when we invest in those children, we invest in people's lives, it not only gives them value, but it also gives you influence. You think of the people that you spend the majority of your time with. How does that change the way that you have an influence in their lives? How does it change the way that they react to you? When you're willing to give people of your time, they're willing to give back, they're willing to listen, they're willing to be guided. And in our lives, when we give time to people, we're truly investing in what means the most. I found this out myself personally, a personal experience in a ministry that my wife and I did at Knox Area Rescue Ministries, which is a local homeless shelter. Now, you would think that people who had nothing, when they would have the opportunity to get something, a commodity of value, let's say it was food or it was water, or it was clothing, that would be the thing that they valued the most. What we found in conversations with them is those things were important to them, yes. But one thing they told us that was different in our ministry than in any other ministry that came down there was we spent time with them. We listened to them. We heard them. We took time to listen to their stories. We listened to why they were there. We listened to what had happened to them. We listened to what meant something to them. And when we invested our time with them, we found out that gave us the opportunity to be able to then sow into their lives and truly have influence over them. Once we listened to them, they wanted to hear what we had to say. They cared about what we had to say. And they put value in what we had to say because we had actually invested in their lives. We heard one person say, when somebody comes down here and they want to give us these things, but they want us to listen to what they have to say first, we'll listen and we'll take their stuff. But when you guys come down here, we know you're coming down here because you care about us. That makes us feel good. That really showed them that they had value. And the fact is, all people want to have value. All people want to feel value. And for us, we want people to see us as people who value them. And when we have that opportunity to sow into people's lives, we choose whether we are showing them that they have value or they don't. And the way that we respond there will determine how they view us and what they think of us. Now think of this with your relationship with family members, as we discussed earlier with the children. You know, when you are investing into your children and your spouses and your family relationships, it strengthens the relationship. It demonstrates that they have value. But research also shows that it promotes strong mental, physical, and emotional health in children. Children whose parents spend more time with them and really invest valuable time in them, those children are far more healthy, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, than children whose parents are more absentee. These children grow to be more productive adults, more socially stable adults, and they have typically a happier existence, and they're very much more well-rounded and more grounded in their lives. So in conclusion, when we give our time, we're truly giving of ourselves. When we give of ourselves, we're giving people value. We're giving something that we cannot put a price on. Now, we may have a price that we put on our time when we go to work. You may make a certain dollar an hour. And when you do, you're exchanging your time for that money. But when you're investing in people, when you're investing in your family, there's no amount of money that can be put on that. Time invested in people tells them who they are to us, and it also increases our influence over them. You know, I heard this story of a father who was sitting on the couch, was watching a program, and his child walked up to him and says, "Daddy, how much do you make an hour?" And the father told her a figure. And she said, "Okay." And she walked away. And she came back with all of the contents of her piggy bank. And she said, "Dad, how much time will this buy me?" When we think about the unintentional consequences of our busyness, we think about where we invest our time and how we make people feel. Those impacts are huge. How will you invest your time?